Hey guys, Possible here. So today I was going across and just started looking at YouTube videos. I was on the train and I had to nip off and get to the physio and deal with some problems I've been having for the past 2 years. But I was looking through YouTube and noticed some YouTubers, some bigger YouTubers, that are looking at the ashes of Arendelle, I think that's how you pronounce it, and analysing the trail. Now, when did we get to this point where we're so desperate for content that we need to analyse fucking trailers? I mean, this is not just gameplay reviewers or people that are interested in Dark Souls or anything. It's even movie trailers. Now, I personally would only make the exception for things where a big issue is, such as like the Ghostbusters fiasco. I mean, there's this big effort to push some sort of fucking third-wave feminist social justice warrior message in order to fucking sell a product, which was ultimately a subpar comedy riding on the coattails of a already well-established franchise. That's an issue. That's something worth talking about. A fucking trailer? Really? It's fucking advertising. When did we get so desperate? When did we get to the point where we're that greedy that we can't just wait to create something creative? Like, even now I'm just thinking, after this, I'm going to do something a bit creative with a Let's Play when it comes to Maxwell's World. I thought, maybe I could actually do this in a way that's a bit more funny, and instead of just talking as it is and just as I am, try to do something a little bit different, something a bit more that suits what I do, or at least my sense of humour anyway. I don't know if you're going to like it or not, but that's up to you. But that's my point. I think one of the other YouTubers I admire is Nellie Tran of the Community channel, and she's also Aussie, but she's also, over the past, 10 years, she's been around for a very long time, and at least she takes her time with her videos. She also... thank you. She also she takes her time with her videos, and she tries to at least make some effort to put real comedy into it. I mean, that's the first... compare it to some of her earlier videos that were just really like me talking in front of the camera and just saying whatever, but they were still good, they were interesting. And then, again, they were still good, they were still interesting, but ultimately it came down to, really, she takes her time with her stuff. I haven't seen her ever do one of those fucking top 10 things. Now, I've been tempted to do something like that myself, simply because it crops up so much in the search engine that it's a really easy way to get people to see your channel. Trouble with me is that I fucking hate lazy content. And that's what it fucking is. It's fucking lazy. It's just fucking clips put together, rated in some fucking rank and order. It's really easy. It's boring. And I will say it again, boring. And I can't stand it. I understand you want to build your channel, but I also think that that's also lazy. And this, bring it back to this and analysing fucking trailers, which are just advertising. Can't we just... Reviews are one thing altogether. And at least there are others... there's plenty of... it started this whole culture of, armchair critics. And they're funny, and I enjoy that. But it's gotten to a point where now everyone sort of combines this, either some sort of a mix between a reaction video and a fucking review of a trailer. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I find that content very boring. I mean, it's all speculative. It's the same kind of shit and nonsense that goes on with GTA 5 YouTubers, or even some of the Fallout 4 users. I'm starting to notice this trend, and it usually happens when as a YouTube channel gets bigger and it goes on longer. You'll look at, for example, ESO, Star-Lord, and a few others, and they're all talking about the same thing, speculative sort of stuff. Like, recently they talked about a quote-unquote new DLC because they saw some fucking thing upload, or some unnamed thing logged into Steam or whatever. And now, all of a sudden, now there's a DLC. It's fucking amazing. Of course, it's going to be glorious. It'll be worth it. I probably don't fucking care, and probably more than likely it's going to be something not really worth worrying about. If it isn't something substantial, well, I'm not going to fucking care either way. Upgrade the textures? No, don't fucking care. For the most part, I'm not too pissed off with what they got on PS4 at the moment. I'm more pissed off that I'm still going to have to take... I'm getting there. I hope we'll get the computer so I can do what I want to do using a computer, because after this, I don't want to ever go back to the PS4 for Fallout 4. I mean, I don't mind other games, but not the PS4. I am not fucking playing a subpar version of a game that other fucking consoles, including the PC, get a better version. I'm just not fucking interested in that. It pisses me off. I'm not a child. I've actually got some fucking tech background. I might not have had to go to a university to study it. Well, no, that's incorrect. I did briefly take a class, and to be honest, I found the programming was dirt easy, and I just find those kind of things easy to pick up on my own, just through self-study. I don't need a university professor to tell me this shit. I know how computers work. My fucking father is an IT manager for local government back in my own hometown. You see, I pick up this sort of knowledge anyway. And, well, actually, our background with IT goes even further back than that. Actually, it goes really far back. Even before the more modern day microchip processors. Anyway, what I want to say is that I'm getting off topic, but I find the whole analysis of trailers to be a sort of a lazy cop out, and I bring it back to whether it be trailers or announcements or anything like that. It gets to a point that this is what happens when you focus on just one fucking thing. I find, I get it. It creates a sustainable viewership where you've got subscribers that come in regularly, but I'd rather just build a lot of different sort of variety of videos of different types and themes and setups, rather than stick to one like game or one fucking type of video and produce the same fucking result. There's nothing great about any of the speculative shit. It won't, most of the time they'll probably be wrong anyway, and they're just thinking about it. Oh, this is this and this and this and this and this. What's the point? I love money, like everyone else. I mean, everyone will do that hypocrite thing and they'll say some fucking half-assed, I don't do it for money, or I don't care about money. It's like that other cop-out when something tragic happens, someone will say, turn off the monetization, but you know what? You're still fucking getting brownie points, and you're still going to probably get subscribers that will eventually watch the videos that are monetized, and you'll still get fucking money. So it comes down to that problem. No, I like money, and I intend to make money with YouTube. So, yeah. But I also want to build something that's worth people's time, and I want to build something that's worth my time. It might be very easy to get yourself well known on fucking top tens. I mean, let's look at it. One other YouTuber, Superwoman, uses a lot of top fives or top tens, she's a funny person, and I think she's good at what she does. I just think that it could have been so much more, but unfortunately, the way it sort of works, the search engine, it tends to it makes those kinds of content more popular. You know, just easy shit. But the frame up, it becomes just the same fucking setup over and over again, and it's unoriginal. Now, I make GTA 5 YouTube videos. I do, but they're not fucking. There's this naked lady in this one spot, and there you go. Well, it turns out that's not true, and making it out to believe that's what's going to happen, especially the title. You look at some of these fucking titles with 100,000 fucking spent on this DLC. Well, guess what? On the biker DLC, I barely spent probably 5 million, and I got the most expensive MC club. I got the most expensive business, and I fully upgraded it straight away. Got that out the way, and I barely spent over maybe 6 or 8 million. To be a bit more accurate, it's not fucking 100 million, not 10 fucking million. But I get it. They want to get the views and want to get some exposure, and you're competing with other fuckwits who make more misleading crap. Something like this. I I don't like sticking it to any particular type because it is a bit of a cliche. Like me ranting on someone who's bigger, and that you can equate that to jealousy or envy, and fair enough, maybe it is, but it's also, but it has I have a good point though. At the end of the day, why should I fucking click on a video and expecting something, what it is, and as it turns out, it's just some fucking video about some guy who knows what. No one knows what the fuck's going to happen generally, because usually when what the title is never what's in the fucking video, and it'll be complete nonsense. And it seems to be very, very, very prevalent in the GTA 5 community. The only other community or sort of video type that I am finding a little irritating by this point is the drama commentary sort of videos. I found what they were copying a lot of types, and that I'm not going to pick who's apparently come up with what, because more than likely they're all fucking copying each other, and you wouldn't know who fucking started what. But as soon as someone, at least one, or whether it's Prior, Cynical, Leafy is here, or whoever, eventually everyone starts doing the same thing. You got now they've started doing where they've got this and this fucking blurred out background with a fucking text on it. And then you got some who've got their own little avatar character wiggling around on the right hand side or something like that. And it just seems a bit, really, you could do just that little bit more, but that's it. They're competing with each other to create the same fucking setup. Thing I want to talk about. I've never seen I think YouTube has an extraordinary faith in humanity to put a system in place that allows anyone to mass flag videos depending on how often they've been flagging videos. That's also a bit stupid because you're rewarding people for punishing. Where's the benefit in that either? You're looking at an idea that ultimately won't help anyone. You've got to see, an anonymity on the internet ultimately brings out both the worst and the best of us. And when you've got so many people on the internet and so many people connected, it's going to eventually and inevitably be abused. There will be people out there that are simply out to troll. There will be people out there that simply got some sort of political agenda, and they'll censor people simply for the purpose of that, regardless of whether they actually violates the very vague guidelines of YouTube. It's been discussed to death. Everyone's talked about it. I'm already late to the party, but to be honest, it's terrible. There's nothing great about it. It's not YouTube heroes. It should be the YouTube trolls. It's so open to that kind of abuse. It's not funny. And they got this, 4th rank? I do believe you got to get to that rank in order to contact YouTube directly. Well, thank you for giving someone the opportunity to become useful to the community by actually contacting YouTube themselves, even though typically businesses will have that as defaults. You will be able to contact them directly, and eventually someone will get back to you about your inquiry. That's usually the default fact. But they've got this sort of offhanded approach to everything. I can understand that they've copped a lot of shit from Viacom. That's why they've got a lot of these systems in place for copyright infringement that ultimately do favour the copyright holders, or at least people claiming so. You've got people that are committing fraud, but it's just basic fraud on fucking YouTube, violating and claiming shit that's not really theirs. Even if a little piece of it, they'll claim that, and then the whole video goes to them. Or if multiple claimants make a claimant, then no one happens. I remember that they talked about a change where instead of just giving that fucking money to whoever made the claim, they just hold off and put it in a separate account or something or other. I don't know. I don't think it's really necessarily the case. I remember seeing a video from Angry Joe, and I looked at how Studio 7 ended up laying claim to his videos because he was referring back to the YouTube Heroes video, and noticed that I think it was about 116,000 views. Now all that revenue just went over to them, and they did fucking nothing for it. All they did was put some fucking claim in for the content ID system, and now they're making money off his work. Let's be honest here, it's covered under fair use. It's blatantly obvious. We got fair use defences here in Australia as well. So what the fuck is that about? It's disgusting. And you think it's self-evident of what YouTube Heroes really is. It's just another example of another opportunity for people to abuse and cause a lot of problems for the people that actually do produce money. If it wasn't for the YouTube creators, how the fuck are you going to make any money either? The money doesn't just magically appear out of nowhere. I don't necessarily think that any of all the content that's maybe kind of sort of violates are going to disappear entirely. Some people are supported by Patreon. I personally don't think it's time for me to do something like that. I'd rather wait until I've sort of found and done some content that I feel very proud of. I like some of the stuff I've done so far, and I think my content's improving. But I want to get to a point where I feel like I've done something special. And that's why I'm saying, whether it be trailers, or what otherwise speculative sort of nonsense, I think that or top tens is a bit of a lazy sort of way to get views and subscribers and build a channel. It's understandable, but or talking about one of the latest dramas in the drama commentary community, which is also another thing people do to grab some exposure. You eventually become nothing more than the TMZ of YouTube, and that's terrible. Really, that's the extent of creativity that is restricted to stupid fucking gossip in some like News Weekly? Are we that fucking stupid? Are we that petty and sappy that we've now spent our time fucking talking about stuff that ultimately is nothing short of gossip? And I have to wonder, there's sometimes they at least try to prove their points. Some people have got like evidence to support their theories or claims. And at least there's that. Sometimes it's just completely unsupported. I personally don't really care about Keemstar, and I don't particularly care about Levi is here, and I don't particularly care about Prior Cynical, but I do sometimes enjoy some of their content. And I think that sometimes Prior Cynical, I think he's got some good stuff there, but I could never see myself going out and looking at the random weirdos in the very bowels and depths of the sewage of YouTube just to find something cringy, talk about it. It's kind of pointless, don't you think? Really getting down to the point. There's this terrible, average crap people trying to make their way, and to make fun of it, kind of too easy. It's kind of the pussy way of to bully someone. You're bullying just some person that may not be able to, or some of them might even want that. So they get the negative publicity and get shit tons of views and still make money off the negative publicity. But, this has gone on very long. It's been a long time coming just on some of the things that annoy me about YouTube for a long, long time. And I don't necessarily want to go on and on and on with like 350,000 videos about it. I just wanted to say my piece on a couple of topics that were on my mind, and I'd like to just get it off my chest and focus on something else. But I've never had the opportunity to sort of do this and just let it all out, my issues with it, and just say that I think we can do better. I mean, we could do better than just creating top 10s and top 5s and trailer speculation and reviewing advertising. We could do better than just talking about the kind of nonsense or misleading clickbait crap like it is in so much in the GTA 5 community. It's just there's some real brilliance that's behind some of these creators, and when it's there, it's extraordinary. When it isn't, it becomes a bit tiresome, and I don't want to watch that sort of shit. Although I clearly some people will for a while until they get bored of it and fuck off. But I don't know. I think that we can do so much more with this medium. And it gives us an incredible opportunity to make a living, even a fortune, if you get big enough, and not have some fucking boss or whatever wanker define what you need to do in order to make a living. I don't really care for scripts because I find that reading one, it just sort of throws me off. And while I can certainly say maybe getting some bullet points might keep me from going off topic all the time, but at least I wanted to talk about what was bothering me so much about what is great and what is terrible about YouTube, and just say it out loud and just put it in one fucking video, and that's it. And then I can move on to other things. Anyway, that's been Possible, and I'll see you guys on the next one.